Hi, I'm Adriana from Foam Blast, and today we're going to be talking about the Heston's Typhoon Flywheel system and whether it can blow away the current accuracy champion. Let's start with an unboxing. Alright, here's the box and here we go. On top we have a sticker. Remove this foam and we have a beautiful cage here. The etching looks super nice. Screws for the motors. Wheels. They look pretty good. They included a Jolly Rancher, blue raspberry, glad it's not orange. It's like they know me or something. And a little scrubby brush for cleaning out the guide. That looks like it. Now that you know what comes with it, let's talk about its purpose. But first, disclaimer time. We received 2 prototype systems from the Hestons to give them feedback on the design. We have a close relationship with the family to the point where we call them our Nerf family. That being said, we paid for this cage and we'll do our best to remain unbiased. This flywheel cage system was designed from scratch to be a premium system for HvZ. I know what you're thinking, and the title probably gave it away, but there is already a flywheel system in that exact niche, the Dr. Snikkas cage. We think it's only fitting we do a direct comparison of the 2 systems to see if one is better than the other. And given our test results, this might be the most comprehensive test done to date on canted cages versus non-canted cages. We'll be comparing all of the features of the 2 systems head to head so you can make an informed decision. We all know who Dr. Snikkas is, and if you don't, we'll link to his page in the description, but let's get some backstory on the Hestons. This is a completely family-run business. Every member of the family has a hand in the manufacturing process. Kurt, the father, did all the modeling, tooling, and machining. Ashton helps with design, testing, customer service. Jamie handles the business end of things and shipping. Caleb packages the products, and if any of these names sound familiar to you, it's because Jamie and her family run one of the largest California Nerf clubs, E-Band, which regularly has over 125 people in attendance per month. And on top of that, Jamie's a moderator for End War this year. Okay, back to the cages. The Typhoon cage features a 100% CNC design with a beautiful engraved logo and straight, non-canted flywheel design. The flywheels and cage are some of the best machine quality we've ever seen. The flywheels are very well balanced and quiet when used with ball-bearing motors. The wheels from both systems get foam buildup equally well. The only real difference otherwise is the DRS cage has a lip on the hub for removing the flywheel, whereas the Typhoon cage has removal holes from pushing up from behind. The DRS cage requires you to precisely align the wheels using a combination of pushing down and pulling the flywheel back up due to its closed wheel wells. The Typhoon cage has an open top and bottom, so you can use a feeler gauge, or in our case a dime, to make sure you've pressed the wheels on far enough. And the wheels push on fairly easily without the need for a hairdryer on both systems and show no signs of walking off the shaft in our limited use. The Dr. Snikkas cage has a feed ramp dart guide to keep the darts from popping up out of the top of the magazine. But in our experience, this isn't necessary if you use fairly fresh darts, and we figure most people who are spending the money on a cage like this will be using fresh darts almost all the time, so it's not a negative for us, but we know it might be for some people. So what do all these features mean for performance? Is that a lazy segue? Let's find out. We felt that since this was a whole new flywheel system, in-depth testing was necessary. We chrono tested both systems on brand new Elite, Waffle, AccuFake, and Mengun darts. On Elite darts, the Typhoon got an average of 123 FPS, while Dr. Snikkas did an average of 115 and was more consistent than the Typhoon. With AccuFake darts, Typhoon did 126 average FPS and the DRS averaged 122. Both systems were very inconsistent with high numbers over 135 on both cages. Mengun darts are heavier, which led to an average of 104 with the Typhoon and 105 on the DRS, which is within the margin of error. Both systems had a spread of 20 FPS or so not too consistent. Waffles averaged 128 on Typhoon and 123 on DRS and were consistent on the Typhoon while not so much on Dr. Snikkas. They were by far the best all-round dart through both systems with good velocities and least amount of dart drop measured at 30 feet. Unfortunately for our day, testing performance on these cages meant a lot more than a simple chrono test. Both of these cages make claims about increasing accuracy, so we went outside to test accuracy in the backyard. And then came right back in because it was too dang windy. We have a 30-foot stretch from the front of the blaster to the target, so we think that's good enough to get an idea of accuracy between these two cages. Our target is a box measuring 15 by 21 inches and covered in a single sheet of heavy-duty aluminum foil. We found most darts will either make a hole or leave a good discernible dent. We did 18 dart shoots on each dart, with darts from our chrono test that were fired only once. Our action cam was recording at 90 frames per second, so we could review the darts hits after the fact and plot them accordingly to verify our foil hits. For this test, Michelle used a red dot sight on the blaster to aim at a fixed point above the box. For the waffle darts, she had to aim lower as they didn't drop as much, and our first test had lots of darts hitting directly above the box, dead center. We know this isn't a definitive test of accuracy, but it works for Bradley Phillips. Link down below. So, it works for us. The DRS cage has a clear advantage here, but as we watched the footage, the Heston cage's misses were all very close to the box, and in some cases we thought the Typhoon cage scored more hits until we reviewed the footage. So let's go ahead and review the numbers. On elites, and as a surprise to no one, we couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. The Typhoon cage scored 3 hits, while the DRS scored a whopping 9. We equate this more to luck, as elite darts are incredibly inaccurate, and we're flying at almost 10 FPS faster out of the Typhoon cage. So let's go to darts that actually matter. With AccuFakes, the Typhoon cage was within inches of a perfect score, but in the end it scored 13 direct hits, and the Dr. Snikkas had a perfect score of 18. Minguns were similar to the AccuFakes, with the Typhoon scoring 14 direct hits and all of its misses within a few inches. And the Dr. Snikkas scored a 17. Waffles had the closest scoring, with the Typhoon hitting 15 times and the Dr. Snikkas scoring, yet again, a perfect 18 hits. That's a total of 45 out of 72 for the Typhoon and 62 out of 72 for the DRS cage. So what's going on here? These are both very precisely machined cage systems, so why the difference? It could be as simple as the canted cage induces just enough spin to help normalize the irregularities of the dart as it flies through the air. If an irregular side of the dart spends the same amount of time flying through the air on every side, it won't pull to one side like it will in a cage that doesn't induce spin. Credit goes to MTB Ryan for this theory. We've seen the effects of more canting on darts with the Hyperfire. It has much more drastic canting angle with the stock cage, and when it's modded, the darts tend to whirlybird because they have too much spin. It looks like the canting makes a difference in these tests, but it doesn't prove it definitively, and it doesn't prove why. If you want us to revisit this topic with more in-depth testing, please comment down below with suggestions on how we can test it further. Now is the time of the video where we tell you which one to buy. Drum roll, please. The best HvZ cage is completely up to personal preference. As far as performance goes, they're equally perfect for HvZ in my book. The Heston's Typhoon has slightly better velocity, and the Dr. Snikkas has slightly better accuracy. Personally, I feel that evens out pretty well, leaving the main difference being cost and availability. At the time of filming, the Dr. Snikkas is set at €70, equal to 85 USD, and is consistently out of stock, sometimes for months. The Typhoon is set at $60, and we have assurances from the Hestons that they will be available on a much more consistent basis. For our money, we'd rather buy a cage that's considerably cheaper, made by a family of active nerfers, and is easier to install. Those things might not be as important to you, and that's fine. Everyone has their own priorities. So links to both of the cages in the description, as well as our web store, because we have motors and switches and wires and stuff to get it all installed. Happy modding!